The Canterbury Tales. Chaucer.
By Maria Liberty
and Jess Gonzalez.
The Laughy Taffy Tale.
Once upon a time there lived a young man named Brody. His strength was as strong as 1,000 suns. He spoke of his power and strength as if he owned the land. His arms were so big he couldn't fit through the doorway.
You could say he was so full of it, he had a big head. He had his way with the ladies, never got rejected. In his stride was his pride as he stood up tall. Along his side was a meek-looking man named Norman. Hey, opposites attract.
Norman was small, he had no friends. He had pride in Brody, but none for himself. He flattered Brody and every night wished he would succeed as much as Brody.
One sunny day, Brody came across a beautiful young maiden whom he fell in love with. Her name was Isabella, prettiest of them all.
Hey, they were perfect for each other. This gave Brody confidence going through her garden. She would even wake up to his singing outside. He would have Norman purchase flowers every day, giving it to Brody to win her love. One day he realized his gifts don't work, so he used his strength and his power. So she would want him to be her husband.
He bragged to her about his strength, how he is the only man who controls a bull. She appeared to be enthused and asked him to prove his strength and his power. She explained that if he can remove the 1,000-year-old tree, she will marry him. Brody accepted Isabella's promise and thought to lift the roots off the ground.
Days passed and Brody became ill. He had no more in him. His strength was worn out. Norman heard of the exchange with Isabella, thought it was impossible until one day he developed a brilliant idea. He would not lift it, but chop it down until it came crashing to the ground.
Norman always strived to succeed, so he secretly set out to the garden. He spent hours chopping away at the tree as Isabella watched from her window. She was aware of Norman's effort and his perseverance, which she fell in love with.
As soon as Norman accomplished the endeavor, he ran back to Brody's house. Brody got out of bed and flew to the garden to see for himself if this was indeed true. Brody yelled out to Isabella that he had accomplished the act this morning while she was asleep, and now the promise can be fulfilled.
Isabella was aware that Brody had just lied, watching by her window as Norman worked. Isabella decided that the vow was not complete. She would now be free to do as she pleases.
Brody becomes angered by Isabella's wish, but she explains that love is not won by a man's strength and his deceit.
She wants a man of wit and honesty, while Brody stomps off in fury. Then Isabella confessed her love to the weak man, Norman.
Living happily ever after.